Okay, before I show you how to fill these in, I wanted to show you something about sharpening pencils. Now, Tim Holtz in his live last weekend, in February 2024, whatever day it was, he went through and showed the distress pencils and how to sharpen them. And he used a Prismacolor sharpener, which I have one someplace because I have Prismacolor pencils, colored pencils. Not sure where it's at. However, I have lots of sharpeners, and I know those watercolor, the Distress watercolor pencils are a little too big for this hole. I can make it work in this hole, but I want to talk to you about sharpening a pencil. Why, you ask? Because there's a way to do this without getting it all wonky, and I have a nice sharp tip on this thing. I'm gonna break it off for demonstration purposes. All right, now I have not so sharp a pencil. And of course I will use this little hole. Notice I have the sharpener in my left hand and the pencil in my right. And a lot of people do this instead. Turn the sharpener. Whoops, take it out and look at it. Yep, not sharpened yet. Getting there. Pretty nice so far. You will get the sharpest tip doing it this way. I don't know why. I'm sure there's physics involved with this and geometry and all sorts of good stuff. But yep, and that will get you a nice sharp tip without any weirdness. I tried that also with these. So let me empty this for a second. Hang on. I'm not going too far. It's over the garbage. And let me get a piece of paper. Oh, I have a piece of paper here. Okay, so let's find one that's a little blunt. This one is a little blunt, not terribly, and it's candied apple. And I'm gonna take it and put it in my bigger one. Now I'm gonna kind of feel where the blade is. Yeah, I can feel it's moving in there. It's sharpening it. I can see don't press too hard in, just enough to engage that blade on the pencil. And look, that's getting nice and sharp now. Okay, you see I'm moving the pencil a little bit, but right? Pretty nice. Yeah. Okay, so that's candied apple. And you see I have my palette over here. Now, you can see I wrote ta-da. Okay, let me find my candied apple right here. I'm just gonna take that out. I'm gonna open this up. I'm gonna dump these shrapnel right here. You see that? Okay. Yeah. I'm gonna take the candied apple. Yep. Double check candied apple. Yep. I'm gonna put that away. God, don't spill it all over, Des. Put that in there. Now, to get these to settle, you put a little bit of water. Watch how much water you put with this, because seriously, I had mine so soupy, it wasn't good. It took them days to dry out. And what happens when you're making these, you're doing them all at once, and you might have more in one or less. And if you get too much water, the consistency of it will affect how you're swatching, right? Because you just want control that water, control the medium. I'm just mixing that in a little bit. I'm gonna put that in. You see I have 2 cups of water. I bought these at Dollar Tree. They're cheap. I mean, you can use whatever glasses or whatever. I'm gonna put this back in to my watercolor palette. Now, don't spill this over. Even if you put the lid on it, do not tip it. Do not until those are dry. because you will have a holy mess. Ask me how I know. Yep. Anyway, make sure these are dry. And you can see most of mine are pretty dried out now. So when I want to activate these, I just spray them, right? You can see my Kitsch Flamingo is almost gone. So I'll have to shave some off in there. I put a little, probably too much water in that. So I'm going to get a piece of paper towel, and I'm going to do my next step here. And I'm actually going to pull, I think I put too much water in this. I'm just going to suck some of that back out. Okay. Magic. All right. Let me take my palette. Now, what I did was I got all my boxes and all my circles drawn on this first, and then I did this step. But for the sake of this demonstration, I'm going to go Kitsch Flamingo first. All I did was color this in. You can see I got some of my, now I did use mechanical pencil on my other ones, not a regular number 2. I would suggest, I can see this is a little bit more loosey-goosey, the graphite, so I would go ahead and use a mechanical pencil. Okay, so I just filled that in, and then I did in the center, I just went from the top down a little more and laid a little more down. I just wanted to see how that layered. And again, your substrate, your paper will dictate some of that as well. But I just wanted to see how that looked. Okay, done with that. Kitsch Flamingo. I have that in order. Now, I'm going to bring in my palette here. Can you see? Set this stuff up. I'm going to close this guy up. Put this away. Now this is the fun part. You can see, I know Tim doesn't like to use paper towel. It's okay. It really is. Watercolor artists use them all the time. Now, I'm going to leave, you can just fill this in with watercolor. It's fine. You don't have to do anything fancy. I'll show you what I did. And it comes with some practice. So you can see I lay some, I don't know how that's interpreting because I can't see really good on my screen if there's glare. But I'm laying some color down. Now, you could do this in a way, if you're really good, in a way where you leave much darker ring. And I'm doing this pretending my light is coming from this direction, because I will take out and leave a little bit of a highlight. And you can see, hopefully you can see, this is pretty wet. You can drop in more pigment at this point. You can suck some of it up. So if you have a pen, or a paintbrush, a watercolor paintbrush, I've had these for years. Bought them on Amazon. You do not need anything fancy. I used something from, I think it was Ames, when Ames existed. If any of you in the Northeast know what Ames is. And they were just a general paintbrush. I used those for years. But they call it a thirsty brush. So if you get some of the water out of this on your kitchen towel, and then you can suck some of the pigment back up. So I'm going to leave a little bit of a highlight there. And you want to think about this. If you want to do it like me, it's fine. You don't have to. I'm going back in, and some of my pigment isn't really super wet. So that means it's going to be more concentrated. And this color isn't the best color to show, but I'll attempt. You can see I dropped some of that in right on that side, because it's a little bit darker right before the highlighted area. And then this side is going to be darker as well. Okay. And you got to mess with it a little bit. I'm going to show you an even darker color, because the highly pigmented or much darker colors show up better. And then you can put a shadow over here. So I would do a little bit of a lighter wash of this. Okay, I'm gonna put a little bit there. And when it comes to shadows on objects, it's always gonna be the darkest right where it meets the ground, right? In a real object, in a light source, that's kind of how it works. So you could put a little bit darker there, just lay a little pigment down. It's fine. You don't have to get, don't get too concerned about it. And practice and have fun. All right, let's do something else. I'm gonna do lumberjack plaid. Every time I think of this, I love this color. Every time I think of the thing, I think Jumpin' Jack Flash. Sorry, I sing it. Lumberjack plaid. All right, anyway. So I'm not going in order on this. I just wanted to do a darker color so you could see a little bit better. Okay, isn't this fun? Yep. I'm gonna go a little bit darker through here. Wow, that is highly pigmented stuff. I'm gonna do one of these. Just watch if this is real runny. You might not want to do that. Yeah, okay, so lumberjack plaid. It's a gas. I think that's the words. I don't know. Okay, here's my lumberjack plaid. I can see it on there. All right. And it's dry. So I'm just gonna put a little squirt, just a little bit, kind of activate that. Can you see that? I hope you can. All right, now I'm just gonna take it over. Oh, that is really dark, right? So we're gonna go like this. And when you have like a fine tip, and you can see I go over the lines, no worries, no worries. It's all good. Trust me on this. I'm gonna try and leave a little bit of a highlight, but I will fill that in because I do want some of it underneath. I'll highlight some of that color. You can leave it white, but I do like to have kind of that tone of it. All right. And you can see I'm lifting it off. Can you see that? Can you see I'm lifting it off because my paintbrush isn't sopping wet. Now, if you're really struggling, you can add a little bit of water in there and it'll make the pigment go, kind of bloom. And then you can lift it up and you can maneuver it around. I need just a touch of water here. Yeah, see what I did? That's what I did. I made it bloom and it just kind of went all over. All right, you can see I'm gonna move some of that paint around, or yeah, I guess it is watercolor. All right, now I want a little bit darker on that edge. Okay. You see that? Yeah. Now you're getting a little more definition. I'm gonna make it a little darker up through here. Yeah, it's looking kind of nice. All right, I'm happy with that. I'm gonna take a little bit wetter brush. That's really wet. Put a little pigment on here. Kind of make it a little, that looks nice. And I'm gonna go in, I blotted it off, and I'm just gonna go in a little bit darker. Right at the base, okay? So, I am no watercolor artist by any stretch. I mean, I've had some instruction, played with it, but that is what I do, okay? Now, I can tell you on the top, now this isn't dry, but I'm gonna work around this. If I want it like my journal, or the one I have in my journal, what did I put? Distress watercolor pencils. So I went Yeah. I just went in part way on from here. Sorry if my hair's showing. Can you see? I just... Because if I make a mistake, it's not the biggest deal. Whoops. And see. Okay. And then I'm gonna type. Yeah, I'm gonna print. And I know if you're in a different country than us, the US, you're gonna spell it with a U. That's allowed. So is it, it's allowed without the U too. And then I would do the, however big you want it. If you want this, you don't have to put it. You do you, right? You might have a different, totally different order. You can leave that blank. You could put something else up there, page 1, whatever. Okay, and then let me grab my pen because I didn't think to have that over here. Where is it? I'll grab my other pens. Where are they? Okay. I just went over it. So this is a Sharpie permanent ultra fine point permanent marker. Sorry, I'm trying to avoid the water is not dry. I could dry it with my heated tool, but you know, why would I do that? It's not a challenge. Okay. So be bold. It's okay. And if you make a mistake, don't worry about it. Don't stress. You know, we are not perfect people. I don't pretend to be. God knows I'm not. Just adapt. Okay, so that's that. And then I have these, I think I bought them at Michael's. I'm not sure. Anyway, it was a whole set. And I know I used a 0.2. Yeah, here's a 0.2. It's a 0.2, very fine. And this one was Kitsch Flamingo. So let me tell you, I practiced. And, you know, there's some, I'm not the best speller in the world, so I have to look sometimes. Just take your time. Print it if that's more comfortable to you. Or don't write it out, whatever you want to do. This was lumberjack plaid. Yeah, look at me. Okay, that's what I did. Now, when I got them all together, I just cut a 1-inch strip. I'll show you in case you're not like a journal maker. I'm just gonna cut it off this. Whoops, go that way. Move this over here. You see, I'm just gonna cut a 1-inch strip. However you want to do this. 1 inch. If you don't have one of these, use a ruler and like a box cutter on a self-healing mat. Okay, 1 inch right there. All right. Yeah, I'm gonna keep that out. My paper is this long. Okay, and if it's too long, it's okay. We can fix that. There's my pencil. You could cut this with your whoops, with your scissors too. I just don't have a pair of scissors right here. Okay, I'm just gonna cut that. I don't know if you can see that. I just cut it off. It's not a big deal. Hopefully you can see all that. Then I'm going to just fold it in half. You could use your scoreboard if you wanted to. I'm not gonna get too fancy here. Do I have glue? Okay, so now I have this hinge, right? If you want to hinge it, you can do that. And for the sake of this demo, I will get some glue and just glue it. You can use, oh, you know what, I'm gonna have to use collage medium. You can use art glitter glue. Now, I don't want to hinge it, like paste it there, glue it there, because it'll cover some of this up. So I'm going to glue it like here. So I'm going to use some collage medium. This is a fairly fast drying time, but not as fast as art glitter glue. But whatever you have, it's fine. Ooh, yeah. I don't have a ton in here. And it's a much broader. Yeah, it's almost out. Come on, Des, you gotta fill your stuff up. Okay, yeah. So I'm gonna take this and just carefully move it around with my finger because I made a mess. All right, I'm just gonna wipe my fingertip off. And now what I'm gonna do is put this down, but I'm not gonna put it all the way to the edge. I'm gonna leave probably like 1/8 of an inch or so. The good thing about this glue is you have a lot more wiggle time. That's really good, because now some of it's coming off like on the edge. It's not perfect, but I can trim that later. And yeah, it's a little wonky. So yeah, all right. It's hard to see because there's some coloration on this. I should have used a blank piece of paper. That's my fault. Anyway, all right. So that's what I do, and then I put the next page over here, right? And I do the same thing for the last page. And then you can bend it back and forth however you want, but I'd let this dry for a while, and that's it. That's how I created mine. I hope this helps. The most important thing is have fun. Use your mediums, your art supplies, how best suits you. Line the colors up how best suits you. If this kind of layout doesn't work, I had mine in cups, a coffee cup, before I put these back in their cases. Once the second batch of these came out, there's just too many to have out on my desk. Plus I travel and I want to be able to take them with me. And yeah, I hope that helped. Have a good day. Bye.